Let's learn the difference between the original Bible, created by God in God's language of Hebrew, and the human translated by King James.
All right, let's see it.
This is the original, this is human.
Well, the original was also composed by humans. We can chart the development of the Hebrew language out of broader Northwest Semitic languages, and there are absolutely no data anywhere that suggests anything other than a human origin for every last syllable written in the Bible.
The original reads, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. This translation is wrong.
I actually agree with that.
Bereshit means in the origin, in Genesis.
So that rendering is really a distinction without a difference, and it's also incorrect. Bereshit is in the construct state. This exact same word occurs several other times in the Hebrew Bible, and every single time it has to mean in the beginning of something. That's what the form of the word indicates. If it were in the beginning, comma, as an absolute statement, that would be barishonah, which also occurs several other times in the Hebrew Bible and means in the beginning. It's not what we have here. We have in the beginning of God creating the skies and the earth, or more naturally in English, when God began to create the skies and the earth. It is a temporal clause, and what follows describes the state of affairs at that point in time. So the first 3 verses of Genesis are telling us that there were watery depths, the earth was underneath, the Spirit of God hovered over the waters, and then the creative act began with God saying, "Let there be light."
Bara means to bring into existence out of nothing.
No, it doesn't. There is absolutely no use of this verbal root anywhere that demands any such sense, and there is no concept of creation out of nothing in the ancient world until it was created by Christians in the late 2nd century CE, who were in debates with Gnostics and other Greco-Roman thinkers about the morality of eternal matter and the rationality of the resurrection. The doctrine of creation ex nihilo, although it was later borrowed into Judaism, is a late 2nd century creation of Christianity and overturned the entire history of ancient cosmogony.
This is the name of God in God's language. Elohim. Elohim.
Elohim is not the name of God because it is not a name. It is a generic noun that means deity, deities, or divine. Now, the singular El is also a generic noun, but can be used as the personal name of the Northwest Semitic high deity, as we see in the Ugaritic literature and as we see sometimes in the Hebrew Bible. But the word Elohim is used several times to refer explicitly to both singular and plural deities other than Adonai, the God of Israel. For instance, it explicitly designates Astarte and Baal and Chemosh and Milcom and other deities. Now, it is grammatically plural, and this is likely a concretized abstract plural, meaning the plural form was originally used to create the abstraction, divinity. But then that abstract form was used in reference to individual instantiations or manifestations of divinity so frequently that it took back on a concrete sense. And so it went from deity to divinity and back to deity, which means it can be used in the plural form with reference to either a singular deity or plural deities. And you can tell the difference by looking at the verbs or the pronouns. Are they singular or are they plural? If they are singular, as we see in Genesis 1, then Elohim is being used with a singular sense. If they are plural, as we see in other parts of the Hebrew Bible, then Elohim is being used to refer to multiple deities, but it's not the personal name of the God of Israel.
Et hashamayim. Et hashamayim means the skies. It's not heaven. It's skies.
Kinda. We frequently use the word heavens to refer to the skies, so it's not totally inaccurate, but yeah, if you wanted to be technical about it, it would mean skies.
And the earth. And this part is correct. You want the original? Follow me.
Nah, I'm good.
What I would like to add to what Dan McClellan was saying here, and please go follow Dan on his channel, Dan McClellan, is when he talked about in the beginning, this God was creating, but there was already matter. There was already waters. It says that everything was in chaos. There was already a material that was there. And yet it began creating with that material that was already present. So there was no nothingness that this God created from, but there was already something that was previously there. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because it fits more with the theory of the singularity. Because the singularity is about there being a construct of a universe that crunches down. That matter is there in a small pin-sized form, but then there's so much energy there that at some point it explodes back out and creates our current universe. And that singularity continues on a cycle that has been going on longer than any of us will ever know, which is why they give it a statement of eternity, because we will never know how long such a thing could be going on. And we see that in our current universe. We've seen singularities where they explode out and create nebulas and stars and all these different things. So when they say in the beginning, it's the beginning of this creation. They did have an understanding from the Sumerians of a repetitive creation. I think the Navajo Indians, it was the Navajos or the Hopi, but I think it's the Navajos, have a story of a continuous cycle of creation. The Aztecs had a story of a continuous cycles of creations and recreations. So the Bible is basically hinging on that same idea. And the fact that Christians like to exclude it, the fact that there was already waters there and all these other things for it to create from. And this idea of creating from nothingness is actually more doctrine than it is actual facts of what the Bible is trying to say. And I just love everything else that Dan was saying, and he said enough about those. So y'all have a great day. Remember, always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.